Hello and welcome to Talk to OBN show. You're watching OBN Horn of Africa. This is our weekly program. Today I brought you a very successful, committed, hardworking and enthusiastic entrepreneur, Philemon Tesfa Selassie. Philemon was born in Eritrea and he has spent the entire childhood in refugee camp. You better hear from the horse's mouth. Philemon, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Our audience need to get to know you. And can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you very much again. My name is Philemon Tesfa Selassie. I was born in Eritrea, like you stated. So the reason why I moved from Eritrea to Ethiopia is because actually Eritrea was part of Ethiopia. So it was one. So I was born in a camp. My father was a military soldier for the fallen regime, for the Derg regime. And when the war was over, and we got kicked out from the military camps, and then we migrate, or we flee to Ethiopia. So it's not just me. It's I don't know. I don't have the perfect figure for now, but almost every family that were in the Eritrean camps of the Derg families were kicked out of the camp, so that's why we moved. And the entire process of the fleeing all the way to Addis, for us at least, took kind of 14 years. So it was quite a journey, and it has several stops. So
a decade and 4+ years, right?
Yeah. It's a decade and 4. It's basically 14 years. So it was very intense and hard. Actually, I don't remember for the most part of it, as I was very child and I was raised by a single mom. But yeah, we had to stop to Adigrat, Adawa, Mekelle, Desse and Addis Ababa. So it's not a one-time movement, but it was an entire movement, because the Ihadic regime was not settled by itself. So it was a new phenomenon, and there were a lot of local immigrants everywhere. So that was basically it. Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us your experience, the ups and downs, and traveling through Eritrea to Ethiopia through those 14 years?
So basically, I was very young, and I was literally a child. I don't remember. And my mom was fleeing with 3 kids, my sister and my small brother. So I would say it was very tough, because we basically got kicked out from the camp, and we don't know where we're going, and everybody was just moving. So the first few years we were under protection and provision of the Red Cross, and Red Cross used to serve us food, rations and everything. It was quite a very intense time, especially for a single mom, I would say, and it was really a confusion and a confused time also for the entire refugees that were just moving to nowhere. But once we settled, they just noticed they have to move us to the next camps. And then, like I said, it was 5-6 camps we moved, but we destined in Addis Ababa. Even in Addis Ababa, it was first for our batch of our refugee camps. We were based in Jalmeda. Okay. Some people might remember that. So basically, literally in the Jalmeda, it was used to be a horse barn.
Okay.
So yeah, and there were also a lot of warehouses for the they call them Ersha Sabel magazines. I don't know what you call them in English. So most of the settlers were stocked in those big metal warehouses. So us guys, when we were in Jalmeda, we were in this horse barn, a big one. So I'm talking about 500, 600 households, like with a lot of kids and everything. So it was kind of partitioned with plastics and whatever, piece of clothes and stuff like that. So it was a very intense. So that's how I started my elementary journey, and I went to a school nearby in Jalmeda, and a school called Hebrat Fred, and after 5-6 years staying in the camp, we were moved to a place called Ori because they needed that, and it was an area where they kind of throw, I don't know, people, you know, like, so it used to be a very remote area. Now it's part of the city center, but yeah, we got kicked out and we settled in a tents, again, white Red Cross tents, and it was basically it. So whenever the government needs the warehouse or the space, we moved to the next destination. So that's how I finished my elementary and my high school journey in the camp.
You are a change maker and earning a very wonderful name in segment of entrepreneurship. How did you start this business? I mean, you do have Philly Coffee, which roasters, pack and export coffee to the international market. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, then after the journey, I told you I studied marketing management, and I was also a teacher at the Catholic school. I was teaching English and other courses as well. So actually joined the teaching at the age of 16. So I was literally a teacher. So yeah, talking about business, right after I finished my marketing management education, I was part of this international student exchange program called Isaac. So Isaac was such an interesting and life-changing experience for me. So I was actually one of the first exchange outgoing program students. So I have basically write a lot of applications and send them out to every members of Isaac. This is basically an internship after you finished college. So a company in Turkey called Topper that manufactures coffee processing machineries, they were somehow interested in my profile, and they interviewed me to be their intern for 6 months. So like I said, this company is basically a coffee processing machineries manufacturer. So I luckily passed both the verbal interviews and you know, like I had to do some concept notes and research. So I had to go, and that was my first flight to the international.
It was your U-turn.
It was life-changing. So I went to Turkey, and it was 2012. I am pretty much new for everything. And yeah, so this company has a lot of interns from different countries, and I was the one representing basically Ethiopia and the entire East Africa. So one of the reasons that they were interested was because I was also able to speak Tigrinya, so they wanted me to address also Eritrea. So basically this is the beginning of my coffee journey. So this company basically sells a machine, and they also have a coffee academy. So me as a person was very curious, because us as a nation, we consume coffee every day. And God knows for how many times we drink this coffee. But at least, you know, it happens in the morning, it happens in the afternoon, it happens at night, it happens second round, fourth round. It depends on how warm and lively the conversation is. So me getting in this academy and seeing everything about coffee, we the people that bring and introduce this coffee to the world, we don't even know what it is on a consumer basis and what it was is, you know. I love for the fact that we consume coffee for the social and for a lot of unknown rituals and virtues of it, but we're not really closely connected to the financial blessings it has within it, and that's basically our blindsided of this beautiful and amazing commodity.
You have said it. A blessing, I mean financial blessing.
It's containing a lot of financial blessing, and yet we're not even
recognize
it or allowed or have like an access to touch a glimpse
opportunity.
So that is where I was like, whoa, it is like this. So So then that's where the interest of me in coffee kind of ignites. So like, okay, then I studied coffee, I roast every day, I sell the machines. So I stayed with this company nearly a year in Turkey, trying to export from Turkey this machine basically to East Africa, mainly for Ethiopia. And I was selling this machine, and I'm still engaged in selling this machine to the Ethiopia market. Yeah,
that's really wonderful.
Yeah.
What inspires you to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so it was this knowledge and experience I had, so I had to come back to Ethiopia, and then I was basically trying to represent this company, trying to selling, and our foreign currency, or the value of our local money keeps on getting down and down, and people are losing access to get a foreign currency, so that I was basically a jobless people if the people don't import this machine, because I was based in Ethiopia and representing this and facilitating for this company and selling the machines, and I couldn't do it. So I was basically jobless. I was just trying to survive, and then I just remember, how about I start my own business, coffee. So like I said, I don't have a lot of money, I don't have this and that. I have few friends that I know along the way, both locally and internationally. I just said, we need to raise money. I have this beautiful idea of starting a coffee business. So I had to do a fundraising. So I said, for the fundraising, the dream, we just name it the dream of the coffee bean. So we were just aiming to raise 20,000 euro to initiate this business. So I was trying to do that, but it's basically impossible, because it's just in a concept basis, and people wanted to see something. I have to move and make the first move before asking people for money for something that I didn't even touch anything. So I was discussing this with few friends, and they said, you should start doing something. You should sow the first seed, so that people could see and take part in whatever you're doing. Otherwise, you can just say, I'm doing this, help me, I'm thinking this, because people have thoughts, we think a lot,
So many things come to your mind.
Yeah.
But you just do it in rare cases.
So it's all about applying it, So I said, I don't have money, I don't have rich family.
The only thing that you have is thought.
Is the knowledge and the thought. So I really had to think hard, and finally I had to go to a small scale enterprises in our Kabali. So I went to Kabali Zerolet.
Okay.
So I said, look, I have this knowledge, I have this certificate.
Yes.
I wanted to do coffee, and I need a place, I said. So they said, you have to come 3-4 people, then I have to establish a group of people, and then we started it with small scale enterprises on a Warada basis. For a profile like me, I studied abroad and I came, which people were not really happy that I came back to Ethiopia. I could have stayed.
Yes.
And I was also traveling quite few countries in Europe as well. So then going back to Kabali and it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So people didn't like it.
They might suspect you.
Yes.
Yes.
They might not like it, and also bringing that profile was not really common. And my mom didn't like it, and people were like, "You should get a good job and stuff like that." But I was stubborn for some
You went
reason.
there because your personal calling was there.
Maybe yes. Maybe it was
Now
my personal calling.
Now maybe you have seen the result. You're successful now.
But you don't see it by the time.
What does it mean by?
Because it's not really an easy journey.
You're branding coffee.
Yes, but it was not an easy journey. So because it took me.
The time is not yet to come.
Yeah, because I registered my profile and I gave them. So I started it. No, I didn't start the business.
Okay.
I started processing the file and I gave it to them. So I have to go every Wednesday and Friday for 7 consecutive months.
Months or weeks?
Months.
Come on.
Yeah. Months to get the shed.
The shed, the place.
Yeah. So it's because there were a lot of people in line. Maybe it's because they weren't that cooperative.
Even you were sick and tired of begging them.
Yeah. It was quite an intense week. So at the end of the 7 months.
Did they need some money to do that?
I don't know. I can't say that. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know. But I had to go.
There is a kind of rumor.
There is, and not all of them are corrupted, and I can sense some of them are like that, and I don't really know how to communicate.
You had that for free anyway.
I had it for free, and it took me 7 months.
Yeah.
So that
you only sacrificed your time.
It's not only. It's everything.
What is it? Okay.
It's quite everything. So I had to go. You know, the irony and the funny part is I had to go to the Federal Small Scale Enterprises office and I showed them, look, I have this profile and I'm a certified coffee roaster and capper and I came here and I'm young, I'm jobless basically, and I'm all I'm asking is for you guys to give me the land, and you promised you'd give for young entrepreneurs who wanted to start their own business a land, a machinery on a lease basis, a loan for working capital, and a promotion to market the product. And I challenged the authority. So they wrote me, okay, this guy with all this profile deserves a 240 meter square land.
Okay.
Yeah. So I brought that letter after the 7 months. And then a guy who finally authorized it was very much pissed that I had to come back with that letter. And he gave me 26 meters square.
Okay.
Like 15% of whatever I was promised, and so I was like, the letter is saying something else. So this guy says in Amharic, go get whatever is given.
Yes.
And then whatever is whatever. So I don't know what it means in English. I don't know how to. Maybe you can help find that.
Yes, which means you have to ask something extra by having what you have at hand.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I took that, and it was in the middle of a food processing site where people make cookies, injera, and everything. So like everything is everywhere, and I was pretty much shocked. I said, I'm doing coffee and it's a very sensitive commodity. So the day we put it in a warehouse, it's gone, you know, because it absorbs a lot of aromas from other.
Yes.
So I said, I can't work here. So they said, no, this is the only thing we have. So I stayed anyways, and I tried to make things a little bit comfortable, but I couldn't really make it, and I had to stay there, and I started processing a machinery, and that was the only thing that sets me free, because they put me in a first floor. So the Addis Capital, they call them. This is the organization that works under the Development Bank of Ethiopia for small scale enterprises. So they supply machinery. So when they come and see it, they said, we can't give you a machine for a space like this. Otherwise, people who built this need to write a letter, whatever machineries you're putting here, the building can hold. So no one was there to write that letter. They said we can't write because the way the building was constructed was not like strong enough to hold a machine like that. Okay. So due to that, they had to kick me out, and they said Okay, we'll give you another. So they took me to this place and they gave me a warehouse that was closed for 2 years.
Okay.
So they moved me to a warehouse that was closed for 2 years.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I was there 7
Full
months.
Of dirt.
Yeah, I was there 7 months, following every 2 days per week and asking for. And they have so many closed warehouses, but they might have their own issues. But yeah, then we moved back to that. So that's where the journey started. Yes.
Then you revamped it into a new form.
Yes. Then we recycled everything because we have a very limited amount of money. I had only 30,000 birr, so we had to start from what they call it Yajabana Bunna.
Okay.
So the idea was me roasting coffee, packing coffee, selling coffee, distributing to every supermarket, to cafes and everything. So it's just it's full of my heart, but I'm not there financially. So, and the loan they promised was very late, and they needed a collateral. I don't have anything, and it's funny for a startup like me would submit a collateral for, I don't know, whatever amount of you're asking. So I said I don't have, so we have to start all the way from small scale enterprises on a Jabana Bunna basis.
30,000.
30. Yeah.
Okay, 30,000 was your initial capital.
Was the initial
to do
capital.
This business, right?
Yes.
Okay, look, we do have tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. We have these jobless brothers and sisters. They do have such aspiration to begin their own job, right? To create job, but still they are in dilemma of frustration. They might have money, but they don't have the gut. What is needed to be an entrepreneur in the very first place? And what is your recommendation for our brothers and sisters, maybe in Ethiopia, Africa, and elsewhere in the world?
My opinion, I would say entrepreneurship and business or whatever, it doesn't start from money. I would say this, I would say on a startup basis. So if people want to establish a startup company, it doesn't start from money. I'm not saying money is not important.
But very primary agent is not money.
It's not money. It's not money.
So what?
I would say whatever you know is the source of your money. So it is started from your knowledge, from your experience, from whatever things you know or you have done previously. For example, I cannot be a journalist. Even if I have 1 million or whatever amount of money today, because that's not in me now. I can study it, but I can't be it.
Okay.
So it's the same scenario. People with a lot of money, first of all, where did they get the money? So if they know where they get it from and they're confused what to do, maybe it's better if they do wherever the money they have now comes from. You know what I'm saying? Because some people are confused, having some amount of money, what to do with it. Until they figure out what to do next, maybe they should proceed. What gave them this money? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's funny when people say, I have this amount of money and I don't know what to do with it. Maybe you do whatever you used to do previously to get you whatever amount of money you have today, you know? But if they wanted to change, of course, they can always hire people they also have to trust, or they can do whatever they're passionate about. But if you're starting from money, this is my personal opinion.
I know.
If you're journeying to money, I think that's where the failure begins, I would say. So
What should come first?
I would
Commitment?
say, for example, passion.
Passion.
Yeah, that gives them
What does it mean by passion? Like literally talking.
passion. I would say, for example, me in the process of this coffee sector, there's this amount of passion I developed for coffee. It doesn't mean I was born with it. It doesn't mean it's my life calling.
You possess it.
I just learn it. I like it, and I
course
know
of time.
how to do it, and I'll do it. It doesn't mean I will do
Was
it.
that your childhood
No.
dream too? No.
I don't even like coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your childhood age.
Yeah. That's the last beverage I would drink.
Okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. So that's what I'm trying to say. So people, like, what am I called for? What is my purpose?
My personal calling.
Yeah, what's my calling? What's my purpose? What's my destiny?
Yes.
What
is my fate?
Yeah, what's my fate?
Yes.
This is some strong terms that brings pain to a lot of people.
Before just beginning the business, you have to question yourself.
Yeah, it's good.
In saying, what are my personal calling? I guess you're saying that, right?
I'm not saying that. It's not bad to know what's your personal calling, what I'm saying. But it's very bad to suffer in knowing what's your personal calling. So until you know what you're good at, and until you know what are you passionate at, do whatever you're doing today and do it well, because that's how your passion emerges from. You know what I'm saying? So for me, for example, the idea of entrepreneurship is highly abused term.
What is the difference between being an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship and any job creation culture? For instance, let's say certain guy has huge amount of money, lots of money, and by going to business consultants, he might open a big hotel, resort, or whatever, right? Can we say that he is an entrepreneur in that context? Same is true. There are millions, probably thousands of coffee roasters traditionally in Ethiopia. In my place, for instance, in Adama, in every corner, you will find girls or women who roast coffee and who make coffee and sell for any passerby. Flimon is doing the same thing. Sort of a little modification. Can we say that a unique feature in the context of creating job?
So again, my personal opinion, everybody in Ethiopia who dares to work, who steps out of their house to do whatever
the job.
This guy's an entrepreneur. This guy's an entrepreneur for me. Because there are
doesn't mean that pointing a new segment from the usual trend.
Also, I would come to that because we are living in a country where there are a lot of people without job, and those who step out of their house and does whatever it is, it could be it could be anything whatsoever it is. These guys are entrepreneurs. They took the first step. Because for me, entrepreneurship doesn't mean that you have to create a new thing or like innovate a new thing or do something in a new way, the way I'm doing it. Because there are also other people that are doing whatever I'm doing in a whole new level.
I know.
So for me, entrepreneurship should be work by itself. Let's not call it entrepreneurship for now. Work by itself have to be redefined. For example, a person who's working in a government sector or as a civil servant, if he's doing his job on a whole new level, for me that guy is an entrepreneur. Now there's this huge notion of people not wanting to work also as an employee. You know what I'm saying? So this too is totally fine. So yeah, basically, if I give you my answer, this is where I am for now. So for me, if you step out of your house and just decided to do whatever you want,
it's chapter one of
it's chapter one of an entrepreneurship. So you are an entrepreneur. You're not an entrepreneur when
you're
you're
on
a
the verge
millionaire.
of that.
Yes, you're not an entrepreneur when you're a millionaire.
Good. You are a member of Green Club Ethiopia, right?
I used to be, yes.
You used to be. Can you tell us about it?
So when we graduated, me and a very good friend of mine called Abraham, he was actually a guy with the background of environmental science. So he was such an amazing guy, a mentor and a best friend. He initiated this company called the Green Club of Ethiopia. So basically what Green Club used to do was create an awareness on climate change and environmental preservation and protection and tree planting and everything that has to do with environment. So as this friend of mine went for school to Scotland to do his master's, I was the one handling this, and we had another project on it called Adopting the Tree, and I was working with some Netherlands companies that supports the idea. So what we used to do was we plant trees on government schools, because the city setup is pretty much saturated to plant trees. So we used to plant on a government schools, and we used to adopt it, give it as an adoption for a school Green Club project, because every schools have a Green Clubs as a school club clubs. So we used to give them, and we've planted in 5-6 schools around our neighborhood, Makanisa. So this was basically what the initiation used to do.
Okay. You are into business, right? Can you genuinely say that? And you're into business, right?
Yes.
Good. Into it. Anyway, you have traveled over 15 countries across the globe so far.
Yeah.
And you have earned so many experience.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the experience that you have earned in the business segment?
Yeah. One of the opportunities that this coffee business brought me was also to expose myself for the global coffee culture. So as I said, I was representing a very big company in Turkey that manufactures and sells a lot of coffee roasting machineries called Topper, and this company is a member of a specialty coffee associations. So whenever there is an exhibition globally, I travel with this company and see what the international coffee market looks like, and how are the competitors on a global level represents themselves in this big platforms. So this was I would say this was some of the exposures that I had to expand the vision of the Philly Coffee as a company, and me as a person to grow more and to give more and to serve more. So this is the beauty of also traveling, like you just expose yourself to a new people, to a new culture, to a new thing. So you are not only confined in the known, so also letting yourself go for the unknown is what brings beauty basically to my life, I would say.
This program is dedicated mostly for users who need to be change makers. And what I need to ask you is that you've said a while ago 30,000 was your initial capital.
Yeah.
Was that the only money? And can we know, or shall I ask you your Philly Coffee's net worth now? Because in this comparative way, we can understand that Philly is on the right track.
You would say that, yeah.
Because this may draw a lesson for our brothers and sisters out there.
Yeah. So by the time I had 30,000 birr, so like I said, on the side I was doing a fundraising for $20,000.
Okay.
So that
$20,000.
So 20,000 euro. Yeah. So that was the money that we were planning to raise for this initiation. But when I started, I had 30,000 birr. So, like I said, when I asked those guys, I have this beautiful idea.
Who are those guys?
Those are the international donors and friends. I know, best friends. So basically, this was a money that was trying to raise from GoFundMe. So we will basically raise from people starting from $10 or $5. So it's for mass.
It's a lot,
It's a lot for individuals, So when I said this, they said, you have to start and show us something so that we narrate it properly. So I had to be faithful for my first 30,000 birr I had in my bank. So that is where everything started. So I put every penny of it from the 30,000 in the business. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yes. Sure. So after that, we initiated the fundraising. So the fundraising was for $20,000 euro, like I said, but we ended up getting 4,900 euro. So we only get 25% of it. So we bought a machine on a loan basis, a coffee roasting machine. We paid half of it from this money, and then it continued like that. But you know, businesses grows and they started somewhere. So the initiator, the person who wanted to start a business, I'm talking from a startup point of view, has to be very honest and dedicated for whatever amount of money he has, because that's how you see he believes in the business. You know, if you're just asking for other people, I need to start business. For example, I would ask you, did you put everything you have in the business? So that's how I would measure that you really trust in the business. So for me, yes, I put every amount of. Then people come, you know, forces joined, people support. So for example, me saying I did this and I did that and I did this, I didn't do it alone. You know, that I have you know, manipulated and invaded so many social resources from friends. You know, like in terms of architect, in terms of designing, in terms of furniture, in terms of electricity work, in terms of all sort of things that I didn't pay for are worth of hundreds of thousands of birrs. So these are basically the potentials that I had to put together to get this. So like even though I put financially that amount of money, my whole being was there, and the whole people that are around, you know, the amount of calls for help, for the amount of helps I call are enormous. There are a lot of people that I call and invite, help me, I'm doing this, it's a do or die. So a lot of people joined forces and supported me. So basically, initially, that's it. That's the amount of money we injected, yes.
Who are your potential customers? You have to have, I mean, a potential customer, right? Otherwise, you will be kicked out of the market. Any passerby may drink today, not tomorrow. So you do have your own
potential buyers, yes.
Potential buyer. Who are those individuals?
So currently, we are engaged in the local markets mainly. So it's not really hard to do business in Ethiopia. So for example, the big channels that we were aiming to sell our coffee were the supermarkets. And it's funny that the supermarkets basically buy on a credit and consignment basis. This I would say forever. So there's no room for startups. I couldn't give for a supermarket.